Hello. In this video, I'm just going to share why I use pictures and how the visuals can be used to teach a language. That is, using visuals to teach language, that is English, because visuals help them to imagine the real world scenarios and react to them more naturally. So it's always better to use visuals. Why use pictures to teach English? When teaching a language, we have to attack from all angles. That is, we have to teach them, we have to see how we can teach them from various angles. So we have to attack it from all the angles. So this means that our homemade lesson plans need to be engaging as many as the human senses as possible. Like every human senses should be activated when we should make our lesson plans in such a way like when our learners sit in the class, like every senses or every senses is activated. And by creating and this will also create a classroom environment that mimics real life. We can get our student one step closer to using English outside the class hours, and visuals help them imagine real world scenarios and react to them more naturally. And what kind of pictures can we use or I use when I teach English? Yes, when I say pictures, that means different kinds of visual materials which is available to you as a teacher. It can be photos, it can be drawings, it can be paintings, illustrations from the book, newspapers, etc. And even symbols, cartoons, flashcards, collages, and picture stories. Then magazine ad, newspaper, and even sometimes their website illustration and stills from the video, a family function or a movie, and even doodles and my own drawings and scribbles I use in the classroom. Now, because pictures, they work their own magic. And today's multimedia environment, or this people with so much glued to technology, it is very visual oriented because from selfies to screenshot and pictures are everywhere, and they have become a natural aid to learning. So there was a time when students learned the way teacher taught. Now that is gone, and now the teacher teaches the way the learners wants to learn, and learners learn in a different. Every learner will have their own type, and they can learn because some can be auditory, some can be kinesthetic, and but in because of today's influence, a maximum you will have visual learners because they are the large portion of the class. So this immediately help those students, and you can grab the attention of the class. And it is tested also that as as babies we all learn through visuals. What we see we try to imitate, we do it. So that means pictures are an excellent way to represent or to present as learning, or that will just represent learning, and it will get maximum votes. Then like pictures are an excellent way to present and also to reinforce vocabulary. Since we learn our L1 in this way from the babyhood, so even when we teach English, when we have more pictures, that is easy. And when we even the speaking related anxiety in the class will be less. Sometimes, whenever we ask or whenever there's an activity, some children they don't speak, they don't open up. So pictures are something like, pictures are open to different interpretations. They can introduce the level of ambiguity which allows our students to be more creative and invent all kinds of sentences structured around them. Pictures, it provides a talking point even a student who is shy or insecure in the class will have something in front of uh, him or her, or in front of them, to talk about the meaning, and there will be less speaking related anxiety. So this way what happens, they will not be scared. Everyone will have something to speak, and everyone will pay attention and respond to a strong visual cue. And even when we show something like flashcards or any visual, this is the response is really higher compared to other way of teaching, and everyone definitely will pay attention, and they will also respond to a visual cue like pictures. And pictures are stimulating, and they're also interesting, and they're accessible to everyone. And pictures, they also add fun element to the lesson. They take people right back to their childhood days. And sometimes, when we have cartoons and picture books, so like they just go back to their childhood days, and it's filled with, because that is filled with cartoons and all these pictures. And they are great for practicing sub skills also, like, and also the secondary skills, like we can teach prediction. We can show a picture and we can ask them like what is going to happen next, or we can tell them to sequence it and tell a story, or we can just tell them to recognize key idea, and many more activities can be done. And I'll be sharing some which I have really started doing it in my class, and I found that was successful. And like, we can also build our own picture collection, and I tell you, this will be a very handy thing for your emergency lessons, like suddenly you have to go to a class, and or there's some emergency, and it will just do wonders when you go as a substitution class with some pictures, and children will just learn it, and they will also love it. And we can also, and it's easy to have our own picture collection, and it is a good idea to start also collecting also, because that would be unique, and our classes will also be unique. And we can just collect visuals. We can start mounting them on a cardboard or laminating them. And if we have time, we can also start adding lesson plans, and we can just have it as our own, our resource. And this will be really wonderful. And when we have to cover something, like suddenly we have to go to class, or maybe even we have combined classes, then we can just show these things, and it will really do wonders. And and it will be actually, children will have fun, as well as the learning will also take place. However, um, don't get too caught up with the need to have professionally produced pictures. Like, we can just have any pictures. We can have stick drawing, our own drawing. We need not go in for a professional flashcards. I also think that a good language teacher should be able to teach in a desert or an island or under the tree with just few pictures and learners around you with nature, and that would be awesome, I tell you. And creative ways, here I'm just going to share some creative ways to use pictures. We can use pictures for prediction of uh, for reading before, like, even if it is a book, you can just show the cover page, we can show the picture, and we can ask them, so what do you think the story is going to be all about? Or we can just have some listening activities. For teaching vocabulary, we can use pictures, and of course, picture dictation. And picture will create happy, and that eagerness will also be developed in the students. They will be eager to learn, because prediction for reading or listening activities, the pictures help students with guesses. They will just come out with guesses. They give a clue as to what is to come and what is the main idea of the story or what is important. Most newspapers, magazines, and online articles have pictures to illustrate the main points. So we can use these as much as possible. If we don't have them, we can just find our own. Before reading or listening. We can elicit a response from the class regarding the picture they are looking at. Then, what does the picture? We can ask them, what does the picture show? What is happening? Or what might the text or the audio will be about? Hmm? And we can also ask them, like, what words and situations does the picture mind to or the picture brings to your mind. So such questions will really make the learners think. And we can use pictures, and students, will be desperate. When we use pictures, the students will be desperate to read or to listen to these. Hmm? And they'll just and sometimes what happens when we ask them about a question to predict. Then they will just listen like how correct they were. And pictures that uh, trigger, and it encourages and promotes both reading and listening. And we can also have students happy in the class because when they are not opening their textbook, notebooks, and all, and this they will just love, and they'll be eager to learn. We can use pictures for teaching vocabulary. When it comes to teaching vocabulary, the real thing is the best. So, but it is not possible. For example, when we have wildlife lesson, wild animals, we can't bring wild animals to the class. Maybe a lion or an elephant, or even sometimes when we are talking about vintage car or an angel, then we can't bring those things. So in such places, we can bring pictures. We can make it as a flashcard or a board drawing or a stick and sand drawing or something. A stick puppet or sort of thing we can draw and stick, or we can just draw it in the sand and show what it is. So that way it is really good. And both for teaching new words as well as the main aim, and for pre-teaching the essential vocabulary before the reading and listening test is also very good. So this way the learners tend to learn more vocabulary. We can also give them picture dictation. Like this is a variation on the normal dictation. So instead of reading out the word, you describe a picture that a student can't see. They draw what you say, and after that they just check their version with the partner. Then they compare the version with the original. So, for example, when you are describing, draw a table in the middle of the room, under the table, draw a cat, there is a cat, see what happens, they start discussing with their friends, so that peer learning and discussion also happens, and then they do a final discussion with the original. So this way, that group learning, understanding those behavior, some life skills and values are also developed. They can also do this as a pair activity, like one student describes and the other draws, and or two change roles and they keep drawing. We can also use pictures successfully, and the students will be desperate to read, and he'll just be waiting. Okay, I have to learn something. So that's a very good feel. As a teacher, you'll just love it. Like we can also have spot the difference, picture stories, word association pictures. The content itself is what it says. Like we can have two pictures and we can tell them you have to say so they say in picture A I see this, and picture B, so this is same, this is compare and contrast, this is same, this is different, in this it is, but all these words we can just and then we can have various pictures and we can tell them to sequence it and write a story or tell a story. weaving a story. They sequence what next, firstly what happened, then what happened at the end. Then you can give them various words and we can tell them to associate that with the picture. If you see that action or that expression, try to associate and form sentences. So that would be really wonderful when we use pictures. A lot of learning also takes place. Then we can also teach them to make their own pictures. We will help them to map a story or a representation, like, a picture flow or a path. Suppose we can tell them, divide the paper into six, and your first box is going to be the beginning of the picture story, and then what is the character, how is the character having the goal of the character, what are the inner strength or the problem for not attaining the goal, what are the pressure he is getting from, or the or obstacles which is coming from outside, and then how he faces or how he rectifies, or how he overcomes, and then finally what is the end. Okay, they can just draw maybe a stick drawing and then they start explaining. So, this way they have that connectivity. And they can also have a picture flow or the paths. Like, for every story, they can just have a make a path. Like, this is what has happened, and then this happened, and then he said this. So, like, later when they speak, also they will know how to connect their drawing and then they speak. And this would be also be very useful, this habit, when we tell the children and they develop this habit. So later stage when they are giving their presentation or reading a paper, that would be very easy. And this will really help them to remember and perform also better in their speaking and both writing skills. Now, when we tell them to make their own pictures, they will just make the learner CDE, where C stands for creative, and D is for design, and E is for explore. They like the in creative they try to change some element of a story, like any story. Let them take maybe Cinderella's story. Like they were like, what do they have? Like what? Like we can tell. Like what is their plans? Then they will say, instead of Cinderella going for a party, like. When I had this activity in my class, children, like, they just came out with an idea. Cinderella just Prince had invited, Prince was a plant lover, and he invited everyone to come and speak how they will take care of the environment, what is their responsibility, how they will work on Go Green project. And Cinderella's stepsister spoke, and it was not well. People started laughing, and then suddenly Cinderella, she went. Mother Angel brought all these things, and she went there, and she just speaks about everything. Seeing this, the prince was very happy. He said, "For my project, you are the manager, or you are the team leader, or you are the CEO." And then she's very happy. Whereas this stepsisters, they wouldn't make it, so they were sad. And so this sort of things, it will change their idea. And like, as a teacher, when these children are with us, then we can also know what is the inner, the child, the real child, like, what is in them. If the children, they don't want, they are more into Go Green or things like that, they will come up with this sort of idea. Or if they just wanted happily getting married, they don't want to change that. So all these, you know the real child, what is there in the child's mind. So when they start designing and creating a new version, this also, and bring a new vision to the story picture, and also to them, they will also have an ability to create something, innovate something. They will, like, when new ideas come out, they explore their own self. That is the inner strength. So pictures really do wonders here when we teach them how to make pictures around, because a picture is a word It's worth 1,000 words. Like one picture is enough, and like you can just remember, it's just worth 1,000 words. So why not we make this as a learning tool? And definitely, when we make this as a learning tool, um, yes, we can use it in a positive way. So let us use it in a positive way and help our children to get educated and our learners also be very positive. So let's use it because we know, like, even if we tell them not to use, everyone is glued to technology. They'll be using their cell phone, iPad, and laptop. So why not we tell them to use this in a positive way, and then definitely they will also do it. Like, we can use ideas to show creative images, like as a learning tool. We can tell them to take pictures of something which is different or which is they think is creative. So that would be really wonderful. And with this, I just conclude my video. If you like this video and you find this really useful, then you can share it and like it and also subscribe it. When you subscribe it, then you will get a notification of my next video. Bye bye. See you in the next video. Thank you.